We are only 2 days away from Ravens OTAs. Who will be there? Who will take a leap from last year? What rookies and undrafted rookies will stand out? We'll discuss who I'm watching to make an impact and what we can learn over these next few weeks of OTAs. All that and more in today's episode of the Flock Rundown.
Ravens Flock. The Flock Rundown is the place to be.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.
What's up, Ravens fans? My name is Ryan, and welcome back to another episode of the Flock Rundown. So OTA starts this Tuesday, May 27th through May 29th, and then we also have OTAs on June 3rd, June 5th, and 6th, June 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. If you don't know, OTAs is 10 days of organized team practice activity. No live contact is permitted, but 7-on-7, 9-on-7, and 11-on-11 drills are permitted. So we're not going to get a great look at the offensive and defensive lines because there's no pads, there's no real physical contact. But we will get to see who the starting O-line is. That depends on who shows up, but I think the majority of the offensive line has been there throughout this offseason. So I would imagine pretty much everybody should be there on the offensive line. I think a lot of the team should be there. I mean, usually the Ravens have great turnouts for OTAs and mini camps. We'll see if Lamar Jackson shows up. Sometimes he doesn't show up early, kind of misses the first few days or the first week, but then he always kind of comes back around and ends up being there. So we'll see if he's there or not. But regardless, we're going to get a great look at a lot of this team. You know, a lot of the rookies now mixing in with the veterans and who's going to step up. What undrafted rookie are we looking at to step up? One of the first names that I'm dying to watch hit the field with the veterans is LeJohntay Wester. I want to see if he's starting at punt returner and or kick returner right away. Are they, ushering him into that position right out the gates? Is that their plan? Or do they have Tylan Wallace and Keaton Mitchell or somebody still taking reps and they're working LeJohntay in? I want to see if he is the number one punt returner or not. I know he's going to get a lot of work, but let's see if he's out there running with the ones. And then also, how much time does he get at receiver and does he make any impact? I know it's super early. I'm not putting crazy expectations on him. Like I said in a video before, I don't expect LeJohntay to come out and be Zay Flowers, but he has a lot of similar traits, and I think he's capable of being a game wrecker for this offense, a home run hitter, a playmaker, and not only at punt return, I think he definitely is going to provide that at punt returner, but can he creep in and make some plays at receiver? I want to see how he looks. And sticking with the receivers, I'm also very curious to see what Tez Walker's role is. I mean, this is a mid-round pick from last year that really didn't get much playing time. He had that great end zone catch against the Giants, and that was pretty much his main flash for the season, but he was flashing a little bit last training camp. I know he missed a lot of the offseason last year, but he came back late in training camp and was making some plays. So what kind of leap does he take? What kind of role is Tez Walker in this offense? I don't know if Lamar Jackson's even going to be the quarterback of this offense early in OTAs. I'm hoping he's out there, but like I said earlier, sometimes he's not out there right away. It's fine. We'll see Cooper Rush, we'll see Devin Leary, and Lamar will get there when he gets there. But regardless, what kind of role does Tez Walker have? What kind of role does Tylan Wallace have? Does any of these guys take a leap? We've seen Tylan Wallace for more years than we have Tez Walker, so Tez Walker's more of that wild card. He's kind of like LeJohntay Wester, where you don't know exactly what you're getting, and I think that's exciting. Going into OTAs, you're going to get a great look at the wide receivers, at the quarterbacks. OTAs is definitely not going to be the best showing for the trenches. We're really not going to get a great look at the offensive and defensive lines, but it's a great time for wide receivers, for quarterbacks, for corners, safeties. I think we're going to get a really strong look at a lot of those guys, and it'll be cool to see these rookies mix in with these veterans, even the undrafted free agent rookies. One undrafted free agent rookie at wide receiver that I'm excited about is Xavier Guillory. Now, I don't know if any of these undrafted free agent receivers or any undrafted free agent rookies at all will even make this roster, probably competing for a practice squad spot. If we take 6 receivers, then we don't have any room. If LeJohntay Wester ends up being our punt returner or making the active roster, then we don't really have any room unless we carry 7 receivers. So a lot of these guys are just fighting for practice squad spots and will be competing with guys like Dayton Wade. But I'm excited about Guillory moving to the defensive side of the ball and undrafted undrafted free agent that has stuck out is Jay Higgins from Iowa. I think he does have a chance to make this team. Linebacker is one position we're not insanely deep at. And I think that Jay Higgins definitely has a chance to make this team, so I'm going to be watching out for him. Defensive tackle Jason Jones from Auburn, I think is an interesting name. I know we just signed John Jenkins, a veteran D tackle that kind of fills that role we were missing on the defensive line, but that doesn't mean that Jason Jones can't still make this roster or make the practice squad, so I definitely would keep an eye out for him. And another intriguing undrafted free agent rookie that I'll be watching in OTAs is Sone Ento. I still can't believe this happened, but he had 25 rushing touchdowns last season. So that is definitely a guy that I'm interested to see. I don't know how much room we have at running back. Like I said, most of these guys are really competing for practice squad spots, but that's a guy that I would want on the practice squad. You know, he brings something else to the table that we don't have besides Derrick Henry. So it really provides some power back depth there. And then obviously the top rookies that we drafted, I'm super intrigued in seeing with the veterans. Malachi Starks, is he going to be running with the ones right out the gates? We obviously lost our Darius Washington, unfortunately, so I'm very curious to see if Malachi is running with the ones during OTAs and how he looks next to Kyle Hamilton. I mean, we're actually going to get some footage of Malachi Starks and Kyle Hamilton out there on the field together. I don't know how much we're really going to be able to learn from seeing Mike Green. I'm definitely excited to see him out there, but usually during OTAs or mini camp when they don't have the pads on, they can't have actual contact, you don't really get a good look at any pass rushers because, yeah, you could say they were going to get home, but they can't actually touch the quarterback. They can't actually make the tackle, so you don't get to see their true disruptiveness. I remember past OTAs, we were over here hyping David Ajabo up because it was like every report you heard, David Ajabo's constantly in the backfield. You know, this would have been a sack, this would have been a sack, this would have been a sack, and then healthy scratch the majority of the season. So you don't really get to learn a lot until those pads come on. And another guy who's not a rookie but is a young player that I'm super intrigued and watching in OTAs is Trenton Simpson. Him next to Roquan Smith, he's got to be running with the ones, but has he taken a leap? You know, is he looking better and earning more trust with the coaches so that he can go out there and be the Ravens starting linebacker this year? I mean, Trenton Simpson was supposed to be that last year, not beating him up for it. It was his first season, and we're coming off, you know, getting great play at the end of Patrick Queen's time here. Go to Trenton Simpson. Just not as consistent, but I'm really intrigued to see what he looks like this offseason. You know, is Trenton Simpson going to do enough to earn that starting spot next to Roquan? He's obviously got some competition with the rookie Teddy Buchanan, who I'm also interested in watching. And I know it's too early right now, but if a lot of these young guys throughout this offseason, throughout OTAs and camp, into training camp, if they're struggling at linebacker, we might need to go make a move. We are very, very young and thin at inside linebacker outside of Roquan. You know, hopefully Trenton Simpson does take that leap. Hopefully Teddy Buchanan can step up and be a playmaker for us, but I don't expect a fourth round rookie to come in and have some huge role. So this role to me is really for Trenton Simpson to lose, and we need him to be out there consistently making plays, you know, using that athletic ability and disrupting offenses. I think he totally has everything he needs to do it. Just got to get the mental right, just got to get the experience. And I feel like last year would be the perfect amount of growing pains to go out there and just light this offseason up and head into this season as the starter with momentum. Another young guy on defense I'm interested in seeing is TJ Tampa. You know, I think corners are going to get quite a bit of run out there at OTAs. You're going to see a lot of one-on-one matchups, you know, and I think those are always exciting, like LeJontay Wester versus TJ Tampa, Tez Walker versus TJ Tampa, maybe Rashad Bateman and Zay Flowers if they're out there. So these are types of matchups that I am very intrigued in watching. And I know Awuzie is probably going to be the starter opposite of Wiggins. We should see Awuzie out there too. Usually the new signings, even though he's a veteran, sometimes they show up and are kind of a part of the entire offseason. I know he's already been there in the building the past few weeks. So I would expect Awuzie to be there. But it'll be interesting to see, is Awuzie the starting guy out there? Are they giving TJ Tampa some of those looks? Is TJ Tampa and Jalen Armour-Davis just kind of depth there? I'm very curious to see that cornerback room opposite of Wiggins. I mean, I'm definitely interested in seeing Wiggins, but I think he's established himself. I know what he's going to bring to the table. I know what Marlon Humphrey brings to the table. I'm more interested in seeing Awuzie and how he looks coming off the injury last year. TJ Tampa coming off an injury last year, coming off a rookie season where he didn't play much. Jalen Armour-Davis, can he stay healthy and provide solid minutes? I think that cornerback room is going to be very interesting to watch throughout OTAs. And then back on offense, I'm pumped to watch Keaton Mitchell. I know the running backs during OTAs don't get a lot of shine, but is Keaton Mitchell more involved in the passing game? I feel like he should be. I feel like the Ravens could use Keaton Mitchell similarly to how they use Justice Hill. I know Justice Hill is probably a bit of a better pass blocker and has obviously built more trust with the coaches, so he's out there a lot more, but this is Keaton Mitchell's healthy season. I'm expecting a solid role for Keaton Mitchell this year. I really think we're using all three backs. Obviously, Derrick Henry, Justice Hill, but Keaton Mitchell is going to make some plays for us. So I'm excited to see how he looks in OTAs. Is that burst back? I know him talking throughout the offseason. He seems really confident. He says 100% back. So he's another guy to keep an eye on. I'm excited to watch everybody, man. I'm excited to see Cooper Rush out there if Lamar Jackson's not out there. I think he's an interesting camp quarterback that we didn't have last year. It seems like Devin Leary and Josh Johnson don't bring as much juice. I feel like Cooper Rush can still go out there throughout camp if Lamar isn't there early in OTAs, and Cooper Rush can go out there and keep this offense humming and really get some good work for the wide receivers. So I'm excited to see everybody, man. I can't wait for OTAs to start, and they're going over the next 3-4 weeks. It's only 10 days of practice, but it's spread out the end of May and through June. So, and then mandatory mini camps right after that. Everybody's got to be there for that. So within the next month, we're going to have quite a bit of Ravens practices. We're going to get a great look at a lot of these guys that we're interested in. We're going to get a great look at how the rookies are mixing in with the vets and just who's standing out. It's always nice to kind of take note of who's standing out early in camp. I know it's just OTAs. I know it's just mini camp, but I love it all, man. I'm a fan, and I love every single part of the offseason, especially when we're actually playing some football. And this is an early look at the Ravens team together. We just had rookie minicamp a few weeks ago. We got a great look at some of these rookies. Now we get to see these rookies mix in with the veterans, and we get to see the majority of the Ravens team out there practicing. So I can't wait. Let me know what you guys are thinking. What are you excited for? Who do you think is going to shine? Let me know what you guys are thinking. Appreciate you guys, as always, for tuning in to another episode of the Flock Rundown. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll let the greatest linebacker in the history of the game take us out.
Ravens Flock. The Flock Rundown is the place to be. My man Ryan has been a lifelong Ravens fan since he was born. The Flock Rundown. Nothing gets better than waking up and wondering how high we can fly. Tune in.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.